Hey guys, I shot a video a while back regarding a steel blower, carburetor issue. More or less looking for help, but at the same time, once I realized what the problem was, a couple people needed a little assistance. You know, they were having some of the same troubles, same issues, and there it is up there on the top shelf, sitting behind my gasoline jug. She's doing fine. Thank you for everybody who sent me questions. I apologize I wasn't able to get to them that day or so, but hopefully some of my answers helped out. I wanted to shoot this video today, tonight, whatever. It's kind of about 12 o'clock at night. This Craftsman RER1000, or there's a billion different names for this thing. Yeah, RER1000. It's a rear engine, stationary deck, 30-inch cut, kind of like a space saver mower, I guess. Personally, I think it's a hunk of junk. I hate this design, but either way, nonetheless, there's many people out there that have them and have numerous troubles out of them, and I have zero videos on YouTube that I have found to offer any assistance aside from griping about them. I got it all mostly apart, mostly put back together. I've been on this thing for about 2 days now, 3 days now, and found a couple things. If anybody comes across this mower and looking for help, one of the most common problems I noticed was a no crank situation. Don't get overwhelmed. It's nothing major. 9 times out of 10, this thing, because of the changes through Craftsman and obviously selling out to Honda or Japan or somebody who's making these things, everybody knows about this little seat dummy sensor. You know, you get off your seat, shuts the mower off. This mower has about 6 of them, and one of the most common ones is located right here on your shroud, right towards the rear of the deck, right back here. That little button right there, if this shroud is slipped forward a little bit, and that can happen just from stepping on it, it will not crank. It will not turn. Nothing will happen. Actually, hey, I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to show you. Nothing. Won't run. Take your shroud. You can see that button sticking. There it is. You would never even know. So I got that back on there. Now, she'll go. So that's the first thing. Check that. Be wary of that. You might step on it, kick it, bump it. It could come loose. That's one of the other issues, or main issues. No crank. Everybody freaks out. So that's an easy one. That being said, of course, I've already checked battery, I've checked solenoid, I've checked all those things, and I finally found out what that was. So, second thing that I noticed a lot of customers have complained about this mower is the fact that you really can't keep this thing running. Looking at the brand of carburetor, that pretty much tells me why people have trouble keeping this thing running, because these things are not only junk, but you add junk in the mix of using E85, that ethanol fuel that everybody gets at the gas station now. Look, I'm no different than anybody else. I don't even put 100% gas in my car. And I heard a lot of people can't even get 100% gas. Where I live, I can, but I still don't. I'm up on most of these mowers. I know how to fix them. I know how to clean them out. If I have any trouble, I know pretty much the basics of how to take care of things. So I don't get overly worried about it. The key thing is this. They're getting to the point now, they're telling people, do not use E85 or fuel containing more than 10% ethanol. It's going to hurt the mower. It's going to gum up the carburetor. It's junk. So when you have crap fuel mixed in with crappy parts like this, you're going to have troubles. This mower was by far one of the hardest ones I've ever had to work on. I'd be more than happy to shoot a video to how to break this thing down, what's the easiest ways to get in and out of this thing, to get this carburetor off, because I kid you not, you not only have to take off this tire, you have to take off this rear support bar that bolts here and here. There's 2 bolts on each side. You have to take off this big metal shroud, which is a nightmare to get to if you don't get the tire off, because you got one bolt hole here, one way up under the exhaust, one up here, one up here. Okay, you get those off. Then you have to gently, if you notice this, let's get this over here. If you notice this little cutout piece right here, that goes right around your carburetor. And that metal is extremely sharp, very thin. And one thing you have to be very careful of, see that wire coming off that solenoid? You will slice that in half if you're not careful. Once again, crappy design. There's no way possible, and I promise you, no way possible to remove this carburetor without taking off this metal shroud, without taking off all your lever knobs, unbolting your shroud, lifting this shroud up, and be careful, you got to disconnect the ignition that's way up under there. Let me get a shot. There's your ignition. There it is. There it is. You got to get that off because you don't have any room. Be wary of your cable. You don't want to stretch that or break that. Hold on, let me get my head back on here, my headlight. So, you have to loosen these two, take your air box off, and you'll have to pry this up, this cover. Lift it up just enough. Then you can access all your linkages, and those are not fun. Once you can gently get your linkages disconnected, and remember where they go, don't lose them, don't bend them, don't hurt them. You got 2 bolts there. Once you take this cover off, your airbox cover, there's one more bolt or nut. It is definitely a process. Just going into it blindly took me almost an hour just to get this carburetor off. So now that I've done it, I can get in and out of this thing in no time at all. I urge you to be very careful. Pay attention to your gaskets. I would not even want to try to order these just because everything on this machine is very expensive. I was very thankful that I got to this mower in time where I could reuse all the gaskets. You have one located in between your carburetor and your throttle plate, whatever you want to call that. There's actually one on the back side. There's one right here. Obviously your bowl. There is 2 gaskets in here for your solenoid. One that goes to your solenoid in the bottom of the bowl, and there's a securing nut. Let me see if I can get a shot of that. That nut in between the solenoid and the bottom of the bowl. There's a gasket in between there too, and a gasket on the carburetor drain bowl or drain nut, which is right there. So needless to say, like everything else nowadays, it's completely overabundance of nonsense. They need to go back to the old style. I can't stress enough the importance of cleaning out the idle jet, because the other issue that popped up after I soaked and cleaned and totally scrubbed down the carburetor, it wouldn't idle at all. It just surged and surged and surged. Well, come to find out, it took me about 30 seconds of getting this little piece out, pop this out, get the needle jet, the idle jet out, and blow it out. Take a little piece of steel wire, run it down through there, scrub it out, and she was perfect. Now she idles, runs. Still loud and obnoxious for a mower, but overall, either way, I might redo this video in the morning. I might not. If anybody has any issues or any questions, I literally have been on this thing 3 to 4 days, if not more. I'd be happy to help out. I think, in theory, this could be a unique mower or a good mower for certain people. But you need a very flat yard that has no hills, because again, with a stationary deck that has no adjustments other than up and down, you run this thing up on a hill, you're going to gouge your yard, you're going to bind things up. So for people who live in them subdivisions where everybody's house, every third house is the same, the porch is just on the different side of the house, you all pretty much have the same type of yard. This mower would probably be really good for you. You just got to pay attention to some of the simple things once you learn what they are with these type of mowers. Do your best to get away from that E85. I'm telling you, it's going to save you a lot of heartache and save you from paying someone like me to tear into it and get it fixed. Alright, well, that's all I got for now. Have a good day.